Caitlin Clark has just stunned her team and coaches by launching an attack against the entire squad in response to the recent poor matches that the Fever has played. This not only causes tensions to rise within the team, but it also puts further pressure on Christie, the coach of the Fever, by raising the possibility that she will leave the team too soon. U.S. State Caitlin Clark, a guard for the Fever, leads all rookies in the Women's National Basketball Association in terms of scoring 16. She also leads all rookies in assists with 6. She has made 4. 9 field goals and attempted 12. Two following Thursday night's 8,977 loss to the Seattle Fever, Christie Brown stated that she wants Clark to shoot the ball more. We have to do a better job of setting her up and providing her with some very excellent screens in order to get her open. Caitlin Clark needs to shoot a minimum of 15 shots per game for our sides. She has been advised by reporters that she needs to get shots. The Stats Fever was led by Clark, who scored 15 points on Thursday, making 4 of 9 shots from the field, including a three-pointer. A total of all 7, she also had 7 assists and 6 rebounds, in addition to her score of 4 of 5 from the free throw line and her performance beyond the arc. Post players were the ones who led the charge in the Fever's attempts to shoot against the Storm. The elite, the Boston area, Nalissa Smith, scored 11 points and 5 of 16 points. With guard Kelsey Mitchell going 5 of 10 for 14 points, the team finished with a total of 12 points. During her 4 years at Iowa, she averaged 21 shots per game, hitting a high of 27 in her final season. Clark is now in second place on the list of shot attempts this season, trailing Mitchell by 13.5 per game. While Clark leads all WNBA rookies in shot attempts, she ranks 21 overall in the league. Aro Jinbao, a guard for Dallas, is the WNBA leader in the number of shot attempts per game. There are 8 other true guards who have a higher average number of shots than Clark, including Gerald Lloyd of Seattle, who has 17.5, and Skylar Dean-Smith, who has 13.5. Kelsey Plum, who is 15 years old, 9, and Jackie Young, who is 14 years old, 7, after only 19 games in the WNBA. Clark is making her way into an exclusive group of guards. She discussed Indiana's offensive issues following Thursday's loss, in which the Fever committed 20 turnovers, 6 from Clark to 21 assists. New York's Sabrina Ionescu scored 15, Phoenix's Diana Taurasi scored 13, Chicago's Marina Massachusetts scored 13, Washington's Ariel Atkins scored 14, and Atlanta's Brian Howard scored 12.5, and Alicia Gray scored 12.4. Clark is making her way into this exclusive group of guards despite having only 19 games in the WNBA. According to Clark, when you are getting doubled on a ball screen, you are always going to give it up. This should offer an advantage for us when we are attacking the basket with a 4-on-3, but I didn't believe we played very well out of the box. Tonight's ball screens for our use, there is no doubt that I could be a bit more aggressive when I was going to the basket, but I believe that I will just try to accept what the defense provides me and attempt to set up my teammates for success. Shooting 2 Clark has been blitzed heavily on ball screens this season, as sides have admitted that the way people guard her is difficult. Sides have also remarked that once the ball is out of her hands, she is setting up the rest of our team for some really great looks. Clark is getting some pretty good looks for herself off the ball, but we like her on the ball, so we need to figure out how to manage the two while still coaching. According to Christie sides, the outstanding rookie Caitlin Clark needs to shoot at least 15 shots per game in order to be considered successful. Clark needs to get shots, and we need to do a better job of setting her up by providing her with some really solid screens in order to get her open. After the game, Sid mentioned that she also talked about how the team's turnovers, which totaled 20 on Thursday, lost them the game. The bare minimum is what Caitlin Clark needs to shoot. 15 shots a game for us. I mean, she's got to get shots. We've got to do a better job of setting her up and setting some really good screens for her to get her open the way people guard her. It's tough because she's getting redheads, so once the ball is out of her hands, she's setting the rest of our team up for some really great looks. But when we're not able to finish those, we've got to make sure we're going back and trying to get her back to that ball, getting that ball back in her hands at times. Sid said sides highlighted the difficulty of creating shots for Clark and how the Fever decide whether to play Clark on or off ball the way teams play her. If she gets a ball screen, they're just going to do everything to take it out of her hands. They're going to R her. I mean, that's what she's getting every single time. She's getting some pretty good looks when she's off the ball. We like her on the ball. So we've just got to figure out how to manage the two sides. Said the Fever are still figuring out who they are and how they all fit together. Aside from shooting, it's evident that teammates are still adjusting to how Clark distributes the ball. Sides was questioned about Clark's passing following the game against Seattle. Talk about it all the time, that she's a hell of a passer. She sees windows, she sees open teammates before they realize they're open. I think sometimes we just got to be ready I think she came up a couple times, and we just got to be ready for those passes. We've got to make harder cuts where she sees it, but we also have to know when some of those passes aren't there, like I have all the confidence in the world. For her to just hold on to it and then make a second action out of its side, said the scoring Jewel Lloyd, a five-time All-Star, led all Storm players with 34 points, while the easy Mag Bigor of Seattle had 18 points. The Storm is currently 7 games behind the New York Liberty, who are leading the Eastern Conference with 153 points. The Storm is currently 2 games behind the Minnesota Lynx, who are in second place in the Western Conference. Clark pointed out that 134, the Storm, is the kind of team that we want to be at, so we go up against these teams and we put together a strong quarter there. I had the impression that we won the third quarter by a score of 22-17, but we need to have 4 more quarters like that. Taking things one game at a time and assisting this organization in returning to the playoffs is the primary objective we have for this year. Statement, when further asked about the game and her time at the Fever, she made some pretty rough statements. People were quick to point out that by stating this, Caitlin Clark has made her biggest shot of the WNBA season. Unfortunately, it appeared in a statement about her Indiana Fever coach, this has shocked fans as Caitlin Clark opened up on what it's like to play for Indiana Fever coach Christie sides. Clark, the #1 choice in this year's WNBA draft, is having a spectacular debut season with the Fever after breaking several records during her historic collegiate career at Iowa, while she has been the subject of much controversy off the court. Following Indiana's 8,977 loss to the Seattle Storm on Friday night, the 22-year-old is already living up to the hype around it, leading rookies in points per game with 16. Too surprisingly, it appears that she is earning her stripes in the big leagues without any aid on the floor. Clark was asked about the finest piece of in-game advice she has gotten from an experienced teammate this season. However, her surprising answer has exposed sides to harsh criticism on social media. "No one provides me advice in gaming, I wish," she said, despite the original query regarding Clark's. Players fans swiftly turned to X to criticize sides and question her impact as a coach. One wrote, "Fever, remind me, why is Christie Sides the head coach again? Sides must go." Another person said. A third wrote, "Oh, Christie, count your days." There is a fourth alternative, that the coach may do that one just stated goodbye coach sides during the game against the Chicago Sky that took place last Sunday. A video of Clark appearing to argue with the coach was shown before the game. It was possible to witness Clark and the other players on the court exchanging words during the game, which may have caused their relationship to suffer. The video of the game was uploaded to the internet. Clark only attempted 2 shots in the final 7 minutes of the game, which many saw as a strategic blunder. It was a terrible night for Indiana as they lost the lead in the last 2.5 minutes and were unable to recover, with Angel Reed Carter and Camila Cardoso leading Chicago to win late. As the hosts ended strong at Wintrust Arena, despite being one of the best shooters in women's basketball for many years, Clark failed to have an impact in the last minutes of the game. She chose to pass to teammates on numerous times rather than go for it herself. Despite the fact that she was a previous college sensation, Clark only shot twice in the final 7 minutes of the game. Fans were furious by her lack of participation in the fourth quarter, with some urging Clark to be more self-centered and others criticizing the methods used by the opposing team. When the game on Sunday drew to a close, the 2 individuals mentioned above appeared to have a heated dispute on the floor. Before the Fever coach addressed her concerns, Clark would be seen waving wildly with her right arm out when she was conversing with the sides. Her player, on the other hand, did not appear to be pleased with the response. Rather, she moaning and flinging both arms out in front of her to convey her anger. One person stated on social media that Christie Sides and Caitlin Clark were arguing toward the end of the game. Clark didn't like Sid's game strategy, which is going to be a problem because Christie Sides went away from the pick and roll, which Chicago was having trouble stopping. If Christie Sides had had better strategies for the games, the Indiana Fever would have won this game. What do you think the chances are that the Indiana Fever would have won recent games if Christie Sides had better strategies for the games? Is Clark right about the fact that she is getting close to no support? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to receive additional basketball news.